actually seeing the community for what it is, which is a fantastic and amazing and wonderful. And I was like, yeah, I really want to be a part of this gang. You guys are amazing.
Welcome to the Be Well podcast, wellness backed by science, bringing you inspiring conversations to help you on your wellness journey to a healthier, happier you. Brought to you by Breast Cancer UK. You can start your personal prevention journey right now by taking our prevention quiz. Just click on the link in the show notes. Hello and welcome to the Be Well podcast. I'm Thalie Martini, CEO of Breast Cancer UK. Today, I'm really excited to meet a celebrity chef and presenter who shot to fame after her appearance on Series 9 of the Great British Bake Off, and that was back in 2018. She's now an accomplished food writer, a TV personality presenting Food Unwrapped and Escape to the Country. Now, my guest won hearts on Bake Off for her breads and her cakes and her desserts, of course, and she even won the coveted title of Star Baker during Pastry Week, which is pretty phenomenal. And she made it to the semi-final too. But it was on social media that she drew praise for an inspirational story that's entirely different, really, to what I've just described. And I really look forward to digging a little bit more into this in our chat. So finally, there is also an important aspect to her journey that actually really chimes with us at Breast Cancer UK. And that's her decision to live alcohol-free and also share its wonders with us on her Insta page, Gloriously Sober. And this really matters because we understand that for women, there actually is no safe alcohol level when it comes to breast cancer risk. And avoiding alcohol is actually a really important way to reduce our risk, not just of breast cancer, but also lots of other diseases. So I'm really looking forward to chatting to this really dynamic woman. Welcome, Briony May Williams, to the podcast. Thank you so much for coming along and chatting to me today.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. And thank you for my lovely intro. I feel very special.
Well, you are special, and I really can't wait to hear all about your experience at Bake Off. Now, this happened in the Bake Off tent in 2018. And yes, you did win hearts for your cakes, but also your warmth and your resilience. What I'm really interested in knowing is just how intense it actually was.
It's so intense in there. I mean, people say, why do you get so stressed? It's just cake or it's just bread. But when you're in that tent, it is your whole world. And I think a lot of people don't realise that preparing for, those bakes, you've been at it for weeks. You've probably made it 6 or 7 times. You've changed it, you've developed it, you've tried to make it as perfect as you can be. So when it goes wrong, or when Paul and Prue say, well, it tastes rubbish, it's like they're insulting you and your personality and your everything, because that's what life's revolved around. So it really is such a big deal at the time, even though logically it's just a cake.
It's just a cake, but the conditions are going to be surely different when you're in that tent surrounded by others who you're competing against, rather than being in your home in the comfort of...
With your oven.
We
all know our ovens. You've got where your hot spots are. Mine's back right, hot spot. Things always burn in that corner. Or, I just think that in the tent, it's like an alternate universe. When you step into that tent, something happens, time goes faster, the heat goes up, everything just goes a bit... Yeah, it's a wonderfully bonkers place to be. But I loved every minute of it, even when I was crying into the freezer. I loved it because it's such an iconic TV show.
It certainly is.
Just stood in that tent. It's just so overwhelming and wonderful. It was, I loved it. And it's completely changed my life. So
Did it help you kind of find out what you're actually capable of?
Absolutely, especially when it comes to multitasking in the kitchen, because you've got to do these bakes in a couple of hours, so you become very good at, right, whilst that's doing that, I'm going to do this, whilst that's in the oven, I'm going to make this. Whereas before, I'd be a little bit more calm about it and casual, like, I'll do that in a minute, it's fine. It just made me very efficient in the kitchen, which is great, and very helpful when it comes to the busy lives that we lead. But yeah, it was Yeah, it definitely changed. It made me a much better baker as well.
Right. Was it because you learnt from them, or you had to kind of adapt how you baked in order to do well?
A bit of both, I think.
Yeah.
I think I learnt so much because you bake so intensely for months and months that you just pick up on things as you go. But also the other bakers in the tent, from Paul and Prue, you know, you do pick up, you take on their feedback, and you know, you have to take on board what they're saying, because they've been doing this for a while. They know what they're talking about. So if Prue tells you it doesn't taste good, it doesn't taste good.
Yeah, and so it's not subjective then, because sometimes I've watched the show and I've thought Prue has one response and then Paul will have a different response, and she might say, "Well, I don't like that," and he'll go, "No, that's all right." So how do they, you know, how do they actually deal with that? The fact that it's quite subjective, not necessarily objective.
Yeah, I suppose for me, how I looked at it is, in terms of the technical side of baking, Paul knows everything about that. You know, he knows, like, whether it's underproofed, overproofed, you know, you've overworked the mix, whatever, he knows, because he's been doing that his whole life. With Prue, I very much look to her in terms of flavour profile, because, you know, she's got a Michelin star. She knows, you know, she's been in the culinary world for, well, 50 years, 60 years.
Right, yeah.
So when she's talking to you about flavour, she's not coming at it from a place of, you know, oh, I don't know what I'm talking about. She knows her stuff. So for me, that's how I tended to approach it. But, you know, they've been doing it for long enough. They know what's good. And also you'd kind of think, well, it can't be that bad. And then you try it and be like, oh no, actually it is that bad. Oh, damn it, they were right.
But that's amazing, isn't it, that you were able to come out of that as a better baker with a better, and you know, all of this presumably new kind of knowledge around flavours, around techniques, and then bringing that into your own kind of personal life as well. One thing that I've noticed in the tent is that, you know, under this amount of pressure, people have to really think about how they deal with that pressure. You know, we talk at Breast Cancer UK about, there's lots of factors when it comes to breast cancer that we have some control over. We don't have control over our genes necessarily, but there are some risk factors that we can control, things like our lifestyle and some environmental risk factors. Do you think taking that approach of having control over certain factors, that principle can be applied in the baking tent? So I mean, things like, you know, how to manage staying cool when it's really hot, how to stay calm when you're feeling super pressured, because that really would rely on having some control over what's going on there.
Yeah, I'd love to say I had loads of control.
Yeah.
But I think I did to a certain extent, because you have to, in terms of the timing, you know, you have to rein yourself in if you think you're taking too long or something's going wrong. You really have to manage that time carefully and keep that under control. But what I really learned is that I knew it anyway, but confirmed that I'm a very emotional person.
Right.
And if things go wrong, I do get really upset and I will cry. Because that's who I am.
That's like a release.
Yeah, it's a release for me. If I need to let it out, I need to cry. And that's okay if I need to let it out. And that helps sort of de-stress me a little bit. I also realised how much I use humour to deal with stressful situations, you know, and how much that helps me. So when Noel would come over and make me laugh, that would be such a good way of snapping me out of it. Or, you know, I remember at one point I was literally crying into the freezer, and he came over and put his arm around me and he's like, "You all right?" And I'm like, "No." And he said something funny and made me laugh. And, you know, and that for me is so important. And I approach everything with that humour, because I just think, you know, it just makes life so much more bearable. And so I think those are definitely some things I learned about myself.
Well, you definitely came across as being very, very positive. So someone who has a really positive approach.
I do, yeah.
And is this something that you've cultivated over your life, or something that you kind of learnt you really need?
I think I think it just comes from, you know, where I grew up and who I grew up with. My mum is my hero. She's my inspiration. And she is a very positive person. And she's also very much of the attitude. And I think I take this approach a lot with my little hand as well. So I was born without any fingers on my left hand. And when I was younger, if I couldn't do something, Mum would be like, "We'll find a way around it." So I'm very much a problem solver by nature. And I think a lot of people who live with disabilities are.
Yeah.
You know, you just naturally, because the world isn't built for us. So you approach every day with that sort of, you know, overcoming obstacles and problem solving. And I think that filters into that positive attitude. Because if you see something that's a problem, you think, right, how are we going to solve this?
Yeah.
How are we going to deal with this?
Yeah.
And I just think I'm naturally a positive person. And I think that's been cultivated from a young age with my family. Again, we use a lot of humour, even in the dark times, in the difficult times. And again, with my family now, with my daughter and my husband, we laugh so much in our house. And even when we're getting cross at each other, we'll end up laughing at some point. So I think that just kind of, it filters through. And I'm very much, let's try and be positive about the situation as much as we can. We live in a really scary world where, scary things are happening daily, multiple times a day, that if I can put some positivity out there, even if it's just to the people in my immediate circle, then great. Then that's good. That's a day well spent.
Oh, absolutely. And, it's humour's such a great way to diffuse pressure, to diffuse any situation, or even to kind of change the perception of how bad a situation is. So it's brilliant if you've got that natural knack. Now, something else that has been an amazing achievement in your life is that you gave up alcohol in 2023, and that was soon after your birthday celebration. Did that have anything to do with it?
I think it might have been a little bit connected. Yeah, a little bit, just a little bit. So yeah, so in terms of my relationship with alcohol, I'm very much of the binge drinking generation. Right. So, I started mid-teens, going out, drinking multiple Bacardi Breezes, getting drunk of a weekend, of a night out. It was never, for me, there was never an addiction problem. It was just very much a social drinking situation. But when I drank, I would drink a lot. And then I would feel rough for days after, especially the older I got.
Yeah.
As I approached 40, hangovers would take 3 or 4 days to pass. I know, horrible. So for my 38th birthday, yes, my 38th birthday, I went out with friends. We went out for a meal, had some wine, went out to a club afterwards, had some, vodkas, had a great night. And then a few days later, I ended up being admitted to hospital with what turned out to be a stomach ulcer.
Oh, my goodness.
Which I don't think, it wasn't entirely related to the alcohol, but that obviously made it a lot worse. And the doctor said the best thing you can do is stop drinking for a bit, give up fizzy drinks, give up caffeine, and stop vaping. Because I was vaping as well at the time. So I just went, okay, fine. And I stopped it all.
Every stimulant out of your life.
Yeah, literally, just stop it all. Because I used to drink 2 or 3 cans of Diet Coke a day as well.
Right. Okay.
So I just went, right, okay, fine. And I stopped it all from that point because I thought, I'm only 38 years old. I've got a young daughter.
Yeah.
I do not want to be spending time in hospital and being unwell because of things that I can change.
Yeah.
I can make this better, so I'm going to. So I stopped it right there, then and there, and that was it. And then after a few weeks, maybe a month, I was like, okay, so I could have a drink now maybe if I wanted to, but I don't think I want to. I'm all right. And my best friend had stopped drinking the year before. Her reasons were more to do with anxiety. And she was, really thriving from it. So I was slightly sober curious, I think, is the term I'd use. And then more weeks went by. I still hadn't vaped. I still hadn't drank Diet Coke. Still hadn't had a glass of wine, whatever. And the longer I went without it, alcohol particularly, the better I felt and the less I wanted it. The whole time I'd said to myself, right, if I want a drink, I'll have one.
Yeah.
But I didn't want one.
It's not out of bounds.
It's not out of bounds. Then I went through Christmas, didn't have a drink. New Year, didn't have a drink. And I started to notice changes in my body. I was losing weight. My skin was better. My mental health.
Yeah.
I've had depression since my late teens. So much easier to cope with and manage. At home, I felt so present with my family, with my daughter. And I was just enjoying life so much more. Everything felt like it had gone from, black and white to Technicolor. I couldn't believe the difference.
Wow.
As someone, I wasn't even drinking every day. It was, the weekends, maybe once in the week. But the amount that changed from stopping drinking was so mega and so huge. And then, that my birthday's in the October. The following July, me and my family went to Lake Garda, went to Eurocamp, and we were there, and there was a rosé festival on. Now, rosé was my thing. Loved me a glass of rosé. And we were there, we were sat by Lake Garda. Beautiful scenery. I was there with my favourite humans. Sun was shining, and I thought, I don't want one. I just want a coffee. I thought, okay. My husband was like, "You've changed." I was like, "I know I have." So, and that point on, I thought, no, I'm not gonna bother. And then now it'll be 2 years next month. I still haven't had a Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Still haven't vaped. I have gone back to caffeine. because, need a bit of coffee in my life. But I do have decaf at home. And I haven't drunk, and everything is better. My whole life, I can't express enough. People say to me, well, how do you know when it's, if you're thinking about giving up drinking, how do you know when it's right? And my response is, if you're thinking about it, it's right. It's the time. Just do it. You won't regret it.
Yeah. And I suppose if you could describe, you've described a lot of the benefits. What's the how can you encapsulate what you've got now and compared to, when you were drinking? Something you've got now that you didn't have when alcohol was present in your life.
Confidence. So much more confidence and self-belief. Because nothing's muddied or blurred or kind of, a bit blurry around the edges that comes when you've had a drink of a weekend, then you feel a bit fuzzy for a few days, or you think, I can't remember that conversation that I had with that person. I wonder what I said, or, that self-doubt has just very much lifted. And I feel so much more confident in myself. I think the fact that it coincided with my 40th birthday last year has also helped. And I just everything is better. I feel like my relationships with my loved ones are better as well. And I just wish I'd done it sooner.
Yeah. Well, it's great that you've done it.
Yeah, it's great. And I'm not preachy about it. I won't bring it up unless someone asks me about it.
Yeah.
And I won't talk about it in detail unless someone wants to know, because I was in that position where when I was still drinking alcohol, I hated it when someone would be like, oh, well, I gave up alcohol, and unless I asked them about it. Because people think you're going to judge them. Yeah. And you're not. You do you, that's your decision, that's my decision. If anything, I think people are more judgmental about the fact that you're not drinking than they are about the fact that you drink.
Well, that was the question I was going to ask you. How did people in your social circle respond? You sound like you had loads of support from people really close to you, but what about just generally, and how did that feel in terms of pressure? I think
I would shy away from certain events initially. Or I'd drink something that looked like it could be alcoholic.
Ooh, cunning.
Yeah. But after a while, I realised some friends I didn't see as much. It's just something natural that happened. Other friends I saw more, and we had more meaningful connections and discussions and meetups. Me and my best friend, the one who went sober a year before me, we do such fun things now. We've been axe throwing, we did pole dancing fitness, we went to the roller disco. We kind of almost have these adventures. We're not drinking, so we might as well go and have fun and really enjoy ourselves. I'm very upfront about it in a social situation now. So if someone says, oh, do you want a drink? I say, no, thank you. And they're like, oh, go on. No, actually, I don't drink. And I just kind of try and shut them down because what, you don't drink? No, I don't, thank you.
So people don't take no straight away. They'll kind
not
of be
everyone,
insistent.
No. Yeah, some people, I'll go and just have one.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't drink. You find yourself repeating that quite a lot. And I do understand, because it's part of our culture, especially in the UK, you go to the pub, you have a drink, you celebrate, you have a drink, you commiserate, you have a drink. Every social occasion, positive or negative, is associated with alcohol. So I do understand it, but I am finding more women my age especially, or around my age, when I say I've given up drinking, their instant response usually is, oh, do you know what, I've been thinking about doing that. Yeah, I've really been, how have you found it?
Yeah.
And it's almost like women especially, are waking up and realising the power that they can take back by stopping drinking.
And I wonder if, you had a very immediate kind of health, I suppose, crises, that led you to do this, and you were given that advice. Maybe you wouldn't have if that crisis hadn't happened. But then, you very much did it for health reasons. Maybe those women who are approaching a certain age are starting to think about those things. But how aware are they, do you think? And how aware were you, I suppose? You've been in touch with us now, and I suppose you're aware that there's a link to breast cancer, for example. The studies show about 8% of all breast cancers diagnosed are actually linked to alcohol. Was this something that you knew about before?
I had no idea until I met you at the event which was so lovely going to a sober event. It was just honestly pure joy.
Our full launch.
Yeah, full launch. It was it was honestly one of my favourite events I've ever been to. It was it really was. It was every conversation was meaningful, and the people there were incredible, and the food.
And it was entirely sober.
And it was so wonderful. Honestly, I enjoyed it so much. I had no idea that it was so strongly linked with breast cancer. And it just reinforced my decision not to drink.
Yes.
And it gave me another thing to say to someone when they say, "Why don't you drink?" Oh, well, actually, did you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know.
No.
It's just not as common knowledge as it should be. And I just wish I'd known sooner.
Yes, and you know, the thing with the studies is that the older you get, obviously the more your risk of breast cancer increases. So anything that you might add, any risk factors like drinking, are going to further increase the risk. And then how much you drink matters as well. So the more you drink, the more you increase your risk. But the fact that there's no safe level, our advice is, if you can avoid alcohol altogether, that's best. But as you say, you know, when we talk to people, they say to us, "Oh, I know alcohol is something that, you know, can affect your health immediately, but that long-term risk of other diseases like breast cancer, people don't really know about." So, you know, you get approached by women, they say, "I'm thinking about it." What do you think is preventing them from not drinking? Is there social pressure? And what tips would you give to anyone who feels under pressure?
Yeah, there's definitely social pressure. I completely understand. And especially for people who are maybe in their 20s and their early 30s, who do maybe go out more, who are in those social situations more, who are attending lots of weddings, because that's the age, isn't it, where everyone's having, getting married, etc. It can be difficult, but I would say if you are thinking about stopping drinking, you are ready to stop drinking. You just have to take that step and do it, and have that belief and that faith in yourself that you can do it, and be prepared for people to be judgmental about the fact that you've given up drinking. Have, your party line ready. If you don't want people to know initially that you've given up, or, you're attempting to give up, use something like, "Oh man, I'm on antibiotics." Or do what I did and kind of fake drink for a bit. If you're not quite ready yet to say to people that that's what you're doing. And when you are ready, say it loud and proud, because it shuts people down. If you're a bit kind of meek and worried about actually, no, I don't drink. That's when people pounce and go, "Oh, go and have one." When you say to someone, "I don't drink, thank you, I'll have a lemonade."
Yeah.
When you say it with confidence, that tends to stop people then wanting to come back and push you into it. So, and also keep those reasons in the forefront of your mind about why you're stopping. You don't have to tell other people why you're stopping. That's none of their business. But keep it in the forefront of your mind. And my advice is always play the tape forward. So if you're on a night out or you're at a wedding and you've decided you're not going to drink, and then people are trying to pressure you into drinking, in your head, fast forward 24 hours, fast forward 48 hours, and think, how do I want to feel then? How will I feel looking back, knowing that I went, "Oh, okay, fine, I just had a drink"? Will I be disappointed in myself? Will I feel like poo because I've had a drink? Or will you think, "Yeah, I told them I wasn't drinking and I stuck to it and I feel amazing"? Look into the future and see how that feels. That always, for me, is the game changer.
I think what might be scary for some people is the idea that they just have to go cold turkey. What advice do you have for people who maybe aren't ready for that, but definitely want to go on that kind of sober, curious journey?
Honestly, the amount of amazing no and low alcohol drinks there are now. If you're even thinking about cutting down, go online somewhere like Club Soda.
Yeah.
They have a phenomenal selection. If you're in London, you can go and visit the tasting room. The staff in there are phenomenal. They know their stuff. I tried wines in there and I said, "I'm sorry, this has to be alcoholic." They're like, "No, it's not." I said, "No, but it has to be. It tastes just like real wine." And they're like, "No, it is." They're amazing. If you're worried about it, if you're anxious about dropping it completely, or how are you going to feel that, get those really good non-alcoholic alternatives or low alcohol alternatives, because there's something for every single palate now. There really, really is. If you want some recommendations, contact them or, contact me, whatever.
It's really exploded, hasn't it?
It has.
We had another fantastic person, Mindfully Cami, and she's got a whole Insta page on amazing alternatives to alcohol, what she calls non-alcoholic cocktails. She doesn't.
She's
call them
amazing. She was the one who did
mocktails.
the cocktails at that event.
Yes,
the mocktails.
She made them. I mean, I've never tasted anything like it.
She's incredible. Those mocktails were out of
delicious.
this world. Yeah.
And then the wine that she gave us, it was made from fermented tea, and it was utterly delicious. The
options are endless now, and also, for me, that's what I used a lot in the early sort of months. I would have a lot of alcohol-free alternatives because I felt like I needed to have something. And my husband does it now. He only really drinks non-alcoholic beer at home, not because I've asked him to, but just because he sort of would say, "Oh, when I get home, I really want a beer."
Yes.
What he realised is he wanted that taste of the beer, but he wasn't actually that worried about the alcohol. So he has really good non-alcoholic beers at home now. And he's cut down his drinking probably by about 90% just as a knock-on effect from me.
Wow.
Stopping drinking.
So he must be very grateful.
Well, yeah, I think so. And he's got a designated driver if we do go out and he does want to have a drink. And there's no pressure from me in terms of not drinking for him. But yeah, I would say, line up some really good alternatives for the first few weeks, first couple of months, and have those to hand, or if you're going to an event, look ahead at the menu and see what they've got on offer. Bars and pubs are getting much better.
They are, yeah.
They don't just have Heineken Blue.
Yeah, I mean, it's changed so
now,
much over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
So there's clearly a market there.
100%.
And the fact that there's more and more options, that market, there's a lot of people out there buying them. Now, tell us a bit about your wonderful dedicated page, which you also set up. When did you do it? Now, it's called Gloriously Sober, which is a fabulous name. Why the name, and what was your reason behind getting this page up and running?
So I did the Gloriously Sober page. I wanted to get to a year not drinking before I did it because I wanted it to be sort of almost reach that milestone before I talked about not drinking before on my Instagram, but before I publicly said I'm not drinking anymore, I'm done. I wanted to get to a year, so I got to that milestone.
To have that commitment.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and also for other people to look at you and say, "Wow, she's done a year," And I wanted to show people. I went through loads of different names for the Curiously Sober, but I was like, "What do I think sobriety is? I think it's freaking glorious." And I was like, "Gloriously Sober," and then I thought, "Yeah, that's it. That's the one," because everything about being sober is amazing. In my head, there's no negativity involved whatsoever. And I wanted to show, because a lot of the pages, the sobriety pages online are either very much related to people with addiction, which obviously completely understandable, or they can be sometimes quite heavy or quite emotional, which is, again, important to have those pages, absolutely. I wanted mine to be a little bit more sort of joyous and fun and show people that being sober doesn't have to be boring. And actually, if you go, to a wedding, you can have the best night of your life and then get in your car and drive home at the end.
Yeah.
Or, you can go on an all-inclusive holiday and have a great time and really enjoy it and not feel like you're missing out, and just show people, real life situations. And a woman from Bristol who used to be a bit of a binge drinker, who's now living her best sober life, and it is possible to do it and still, be yourself and enjoy life. If anything, you enjoy it so much more. And I've had such a lovely positive response from people and messages from people saying,
what are they saying?
Just that the pages really help them see that they really wanted to stop drinking and helped them stop drinking. And they'll message me saying, "Oh, I've done, I haven't drunk for a month," or "Oh, I haven't drunk for 6 months," and "Oh, your advice about all-inclusives really helped me when I went away with the family last year." And for me, that's just wonderful. And I've built up this lovely community and supportive community. And there's so many, cross followings as well with other sober accounts. And I really love sharing sort of quotes that people put on there that I find helpful. And I put up silly things, I put up fun things, and sometimes I do put up things that are a little bit emotional, but generally I just try and show people the joy that comes with sobriety.
Yeah, and so people are joining you and feeling the same joy and having more fun without alcohol than with, by the sounds of it.
And a lot of people will follow when they're thinking, "Oh, I'm thinking I might give up, but I'm not sure."
Yeah.
And then they'll follow and hopefully see that sort of, "Oh,
Yeah, it's almost like the need to join a community. I mean, the drinking pressure is about being part of a group and part of a community. But if you can swap it for one that's even better, I mean, that's going to be really rewarding.
I think so, and it's a lovely space to be, and I really enjoy doing it because it just feels like a really positive vibes.
Yeah. Now, you said you really enjoyed our event.
Oh, I loved it.
So our full event, well, that was a launch, and it was great that you joined us. And the launch really is for our whole kind of supper clubs. And the supper clubs are all about really good food, good company, totally alcohol-free, and it's all in support of our cause. What would you say to anyone who thinks that, you can't have fun without alcohol?
That's just not true. I'm sorry, it's just not true. And if you'd asked me 3 years ago, I would have agreed with you and said, yeah no, it's boring. Like, going out for having a dinner party with alcohol, boring. I was wrong. I admit that if I could go back and say to myself 3 years ago, you're completely wrong.
Yeah.
And that's as simple as I can say it. It's just not true. Not having alcohol is great. I go out for dinner with my friends and you would think we were hammered because we're having so much fun and having such a giggle, but we're not. We're completely sober and we're having a great time because we're so present and in each other's company and enjoying each other so much.
Yeah, and the conversation doesn't degenerate because you're wasted.
No, if anything, it gets even better. Yeah. I had actually someone else who I just find a real inspiration is Briony Gordon, and she's also sober. We were at Carfest a few weeks ago and we went back to the camp in the evening and everyone else was having a drink and we were just giggling hysterically. She doesn't drink either. We were just two sober Brionies giggling hysterically and being silly. Sat there. If you'd walked past our table, you would have thought, well, they're clearly drunk.
Yeah.
But actually, we were just having the best time because we were enjoying each other's company and making each other laugh and great. And then we went to bed and felt great the next day.
Yeah. No, that's good because laughter obviously is just such a release.
Yeah.
Great night's sleep, good food.
Yeah.
So why should people try hosting one of our supper clubs, do you think?
Oh, I just think the main thing is it's for an amazing cause, that we need to raise more money, as much money as possible. Obviously, that's an amazing thing to do. Also, it's an excuse to get together with the people that you love, together with friends, family, whoever, and enjoy their company. And it's an excuse, if you're thinking about giving up alcohol or you've recently given up alcohol, to throw an event where, we're giving you the excuse not to have any alcohol there.
Yeah.
You're saying, have it alcohol-free. So anyone who asks, why isn't there any booze here? Well, the idea is that you don't have any alcohol there. It's
and
celebrating
there's some great
that.
recipes for non-alcoholic cocktails
so good.
as well.
So good, yeah. And it's that celebration of food, really good food, nutritious food, without having that alcohol there to blur the lines. So yeah, I would say absolutely do it, and you'll have a great time.
Speaking of nutritious food, I know that eating a healthy and balanced diet is something that you're really interested in, and actually it's also part of the advice we give around reducing risk of breast cancer. Now, you're famous for your sweet goods, your wonderful treats and pastries, but you are interested in nutrition.
I'm actually doing a nutrition course at the moment.
How do you balance the kind of sweet treats and healthy habits?
Well, you said it there. It's all about balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Life is a balance. I think, it's okay to have the sweet treats in moderation. If all you have is donuts, you're not going to feel good. It's going to make you feel rubbish. If you have a donut, but also that day you have fruit, you have a salad, you have a soup that's packed full of veggies, then great, you've balanced your day. It's all about that, enjoy. You want to enjoy food. But also I find I get so much more enjoyment out of food if I know that if it's giving me all the good stuff and the nutrients and all those benefits. I enjoy that food even more because I know it's giving me good fuel for my body. But then if I want to have a pain au chocolat, I will. Thank you very much.
Don't deprive yourself.
No. It is, like you said, it's all about that balance.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're now studying nutrition.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know where I find the time, to be honest with you. If anything, I've had to put it a little bit on the back burner for a month or two because of other projects. But yes, I've done 1/3 of the course and I'm really, really enjoying it. Love using my brain, studying again at the ripe old age of 40. Wow. And yeah, it's just great. It's lovely because being in the world of food is still relatively new for me. I was a teacher before Bake Off. Then I went on Bake Off And now I'm very much in the world of cooking and chefing as well. So for me, I want to understand more about the foods that we put in our body, what's important to put in our body and why, and what's important to avoid. And yeah, really enjoying it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Bake Off, you won hearts and minds for your bubbly personality, for your wonderful food, but there was something that you consciously didn't talk about, and you've alluded to it briefly, and that's you have a disability. I'll let you describe it better than me, but your left hand basically stops at your wrist, yes?
Yeah. Basically, it's called brachydactyly. Which I didn't know until I was on Bake Off. So when I was born without any fingers on my left hand. And the doctors, when I was born in 1984, they said there probably wasn't enough room in the womb. Sorry about that. That's it. That
sounds a bit odd.
Well, it also puts the blame on my mum, which is really, really harsh. Obviously, she's felt guilty my entire life. She felt like there wasn't enough room in there for my fingers to grow. Again, we have lots of very humorous conversations about that now, very open conversations. So I grew up very much not using the word disability, because it was a bad word in the 80s, 90s. Even now, people still, there's so many negative connotations related to that word. Whereas going on Bake Off, they sort of said, well, you're going to be the first visibly disabled baker. And I sort of flinched a bit, thinking, I don't like that word, disabled. It makes me feel uncomfortable. And then the press wanted to call me the disabled baker.
Really?
Yeah.
They mentioned that to you?
Yeah. And I said, well, I'd rather not, actually. Because I wanted to just go on and not talk about it. I just wanted it to be there, because that's how life is. You know what? You've just got to get on with it. So I just wanted to do that. And they said, do you need any extra help? I said, no, thank you. I just want to go on and bake. People didn't even notice in the first week, and then people started noticing, and it got talked about a little bit more. But I loved the fact that they didn't bring it up, that I didn't bring it up. And there's actually...
Was that an agreement with them?
We talked about it. They said, do you want to talk about it? I said, no, I just want to get on with it. But then the more that the term disabled was used, the more I started to embrace it more. And the biggest thing was being welcomed into this gorgeous community of people living with disabilities, and them saying, welcome, come join us, and actually seeing the community for what it is, which is a fantastic and amazing and wonderful. And I was like, I really want to be a part of this gang. You guys are amazing. And so it's because basically from what I see it as is that the disabled community has very much reclaimed that word and said it's not a negative word. It's just just part of who we are. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And now I use it very comfortably, very proudly. And I'm an ambassador for a charity called Reach, which is for people with upper limb differences, which I was a member of when I was a kid, and that really helped me and really helped my mum, because she didn't have any other support other than that, really. So it's a lovely sort of full circle moment, and now I'm an incredibly proud disabled person, and I love it. So it's been a journey, for me. But I'm really glad that Bake Off has given me that, because I feel like it's given me so much.
So did you find mostly that you were welcomed into a community and you had very positive feedback?
Yeah.
And what were some of the things that people were saying to you?
Oh my gosh, I've had some of the most incredible messages you could possibly imagine. I had a message from a woman who was pregnant with a baby who they found out had missing fingers. She was about 8 months pregnant. And she messaged me on Instagram and said, I just want you to know that when they told me about my baby's missing fingers, I was really quite upset. Understandable. Like, when you're told something like that, of course you're going to panic as a parent. She said, but then I watched you on Bake Off and I thought, baby's going to be okay. And I thought,
that's amazing.
But that just shows you the power of representation, the power of putting people who look different to what people expect to see on telly. That's why putting people with disabilities, putting different races, sexualities, genders on TV is so important, and in the media.
But without forcing a narrative either.
Yeah, you don't have to force a narrative.
You just go on and be yourself. Yeah.
Just be there. Yeah. And, someone else messaged me saying, my little boy's got a hand like yours, and he now says if he finds something difficult, he says, well, I'm just going to have to be more Briony.
Oh, brilliant.
I mean, how amazing is that? And that just, for me, that's just such a, it lifts my heart, and it makes me just, so happy that people have had that experience.
Yeah. What an inspirational story. And I love the fact, really, that you're so nonchalant about it. And that's probably what's made it so powerful for people, is that, that's what reality is. We all live in a society where there's people with different disabilities, and those people have really interesting lives, and they're a fantastic community as well.
And they are not just their disability.
No.
And I think that's what people, again, who are living with disabilities want to shout from the rooftops, like, there's more going on here than just, just my disability. Look at me as the human that I am. And I think, things like that, Bake Off doing that, putting me on there is a great way of doing it. Like things like, Chris McCausland on Strictly. Brilliant. He's blind, but look at him dance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
And more stuff like that is just...
And it's good to talk the press's kind of need to put a kind of a narrative that's going to be a clickbaity kind of narrative.
Exactly, yeah.
And, you really managed to foil them.
Yeah.
By showing that, the public is not interested in that.
And the more people like us there are... on screen, in social media, wherever, the less big a deal it is.
That's right. Yeah.
And the better it is for children growing up.
The better it is for the younger generation growing up. Absolutely. And so it's brilliant. It's brilliant. You've mentioned you've got a daughter.
Yes.
Now she's a keen baker, I hear.
Yeah, very keen.
And given that you are obviously an inspiration to many, I imagine you're a huge inspiration to her as well. Have you noticed that your change in lifestyle has had actually an impact on your household? You mentioned actually that, it's been great with your family. But can you talk to us a bit about the impact it's had, the positive impact it's had? And is there anything you didn't know growing up that maybe you'd want to share with your daughter and the younger generation that you've now understood about women's health in particular? Yeah,
I mean, I think that it's made such a huge difference that for me, giving up alcohol, the impact it's had on my relationship with Nora. She's just about to turn 10. And even though I've always been, I'm a very engaged mum, we're very connected as a family, I didn't realise how much it was being a little bit numbed by having alcohol in my system, or by, the hangovers where I'd want to spend the day in bed or on the sofa. You miss out on so much. The best thing about making that massive lifestyle change is the time it's given me. Not just, the time of the evening that I can actually remember because I haven't had a drink, but also the time the next day because I want to get up at 8 o'clock on a Saturday and, go swimming with my daughter. And I can do that with a clear head because I haven't had that drink the night before. So for me, it's had a huge impact on that. And also just that connection, that open, honest connection with Nora, and also with my husband, Steve, and, my other family members as well. I just feel like it feels a bit more real, more genuine. And that's just such a wonderful thing. And I think I love the fact that Nora's going to grow up and see the fact that I've chosen to stop drinking because I want to be healthier and be better. She sees that I'm active. I do exercise, I go swimming. We're quite an active family in general, and I want her to see that and see the positives there. And I think, and telling her things like, did you know that alcohol is really closely related to breast cancer? Giving her information like that, which I don't think we had growing up.
No. Definitely not.
It's so important.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about the conversations I have with my daughters, how much more informed they are about all these things. And, when you're a kid, you feel rather invincible. It still is important information to have. Whereas, when I was their age, I didn't have it.
No.
I didn't have a clue. I saw alcohol as being a problem for people who had an alcohol addiction. But, having the odd drink, I had no idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, that brings us to the part of our interview where we ask the same question to all of our guests.
Okey-doke.
And this one is an interesting one because all of our guests are inspirational like yourself. But we also believe that everyone has a guilty pleasure. Do you have one?
Yes. Absolutely. I love slightly smutty romantasy books.
Smutty romance. Now that's interesting. Slutty.
Smutty, not slutty. I mean, maybe a little bit slutty, but yeah, smutty, romancy books. So things like A Court of Thorns and Roses, ACOTAR, a lot of people call it, and Fourth Wing. It's so silly, like there's dragons and, fae and fairies and all sorts. There's just something about it that really piques my interest. I think it's just the fact that it's proper escapism.
Yeah.
And a lot of them aren't even particularly well written. But I'm in, I'm involved, I'm there.
Yeah,
I'm in.
They are full on escapism. That's what they offer. Yeah.
And I love Book Talk on TikTok. The community there is hilarious and they're so funny and so engaged with it. Oh yeah, that's my guilty pleasure and I love it. Although I have to be really careful, because I listen to audiobooks.
Yes.
Rather than physically reading most of the time, because I'm in the car a lot or I'm travelling, whatever. And I'll sort of pull up to pick up my daughter from school, and I've got to be really careful that I turn it down in case it's it.
Yes, you can't always keep
slightly. Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, I'll just turn that one off for now.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, I suppose that kind of leads on to the next question. What any books or podcasts or films that you would recommend?
Highly recommend Fourth Wing.
Yeah.
If you want a bit of escapism, it's great. Really good fun. Podcasts. I've always loved Help, I Sexted My Boss. Have you ever listened to that?
No.
It's William Hanson and Jordan North, who are two polar opposites. Jordan is like this, northerner from a working class background, and William is an etiquette expert.
Okay.
But they've been best friends for a really long time, and they go over people right in like an agony aunt situation. Oh, this has happened. What should I do? It's so funny. And because they are so different, the dynamic is absolutely brilliant. I've been to see them live as well. They're brilliant.
What does an etiquette expert do these days?
So things like how you should eat a croissant, how you should eat when you sit at a table. Oh no, don't sit with your legs crossed. I mean,
I've got my legs crossed right now.
Literally, yeah. But he's got millions of followers on social media because it's like he's come from a different era. But he's very, very funny.
Yeah. So he obviously does it to entertain people who have a bit of a retro sensibility.
Oh no, but he fully believes it as well.
Right.
Yeah. Like his favourite TV show is what's it called? The one with Hyacinth Bouquet.
Oh,
the one
bringing up. I know the one you mean.
Keeping Up Appearances.
Keeping Up Appearances.
That's his favourite TV show. I mean, if that doesn't tell you everything, I don't know what will.
Hilarious. Okay, that's great. So remind me the name of that podcast.
It is Help, I Sexted My Boss.
I Sexted My Boss.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Okie doke. What about you? What are your plans for the future?
Lots going on at the moment.
Yeah.
I've still escaped to the country, still presenting there, which is great, and I absolutely love it. And Morning Live, I'm still one of the resident chefs there, which is great. So I'll be on there every couple of weeks and do some films for them as well, which I love. Both of those are BBC One. And then I've actually started a podcast as well.
Whoa.
Called I'm Not Judging But, which is me and my two best friends talking mainly about parenting in 2025, being millennials who didn't have social media, who didn't have smartphones. We've all got girls, but 5 girls between us.
Wow.
So, how we're raising them, what we're doing.
There's a lot of good content there.
So much good content, just hours and hours of it. Things like, WhatsApp groups, school WhatsApp groups, and the school gates and politics, and, reading something in the news and you think, oh, I'm not sure about that. And it's all very tongue-in-cheek. And
what's it called, your podcast?
I'm Not Judging But.
Oh, yes, of course you said that. I'm Not Judging But.
Yeah, which is a great title. I didn't come up with it myself.
It's brilliant.
We're working with a production company called Finwest, and it's really good fun. It's only just started.
So there's no judging happening at all?
God, no.
No.
We're mainly judging ourselves, to be honest with you. Yeah. And we're very much all in it together. So that's coming out weekly on a Thursday and is available wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, brilliant.
Oh, and I've also written a book.
You've written a book?
Yes. I'm currently doing the final edit at the moment. But yes, I've written a cookbook that's going to be out in October called The Retro Recipe Society, which is all... I'm obsessed with vintage cookbooks. So it's 50 retro recipes. So each one has a classic and then a modern take, which I've called the remix.
Brilliant.
So you can go for a more classic option if you want, or you can kind of mix it up and go for something more modern.
And when you say classic, when do you mean?
I'm talking like jam roly-polies.
Wow.
I'm talking vol au vents. I'm talking quiche Lorraine.
I love all of those.
Sticky toffee pudding.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah,
Toad in the hole.
I think you're going to make a lot of people very happy
I hope
with
so.
that.
There's a lot of nostalgia, which brings people joy usually.
Oh, brilliant. I really... And when's that coming out?
End of October.
Brilliant. We'll definitely look out for that. You've got nothing left to put on your bucket list, surely. You're so busy. Have you got anything on your bucket list that you haven't done yet?
I'd love to do Strictly. That's on my...
yes.
Yeah. I'd love
hopefully
to do that.
somebody's listening out there.
Yeah, if you could...
Yeah.
So, yeah, that would be great
That would be
fun.
amazing.
That would be amazing, obviously. And I'd rather do that than go in the jungle. I don't think I'd do very well.
I couldn't think of anything worse. I could not think of anything worse than being forced to eat all those kind of creepy crawlies.
Do you know what? I don't even think that would bother me. It'd be more like the bugs and stuff. I think I'd find that sexy.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
So yeah, I'm just very, very happy and very content with life at the moment. So
brilliant.
Yeah.
Where can people find out more about you?
Mainly on social media. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. It's all at Briony May Bakes.
Yes. And then you've also got that page of yours, Gloriously Sober.
Oh, yes. So Gloriously Sober. Yeah, if you want to check out my more sober content.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all technically sober content, but
Where do you find the time?
I don't know.
You're very, obviously staying sober gives you all the energy that you need.
It does. Honestly, it's upped the energy levels no end.
Yeah, brilliant. So lovely to talk to you. Thank you so much for sharing your story and also for supporting our charity. It's amazing and helping us as well with all of our messaging around alcohol, which is ever so important.
My pleasure.
You're
Thanks for having me.
Inspiration.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Be Well podcast, brought to you by Breast Cancer UK, a prevention charity supporting people to build healthy, lifelong habits and reduce their risk of developing breast cancer. You can start your personal prevention journey right now by taking our prevention quiz. Just click on the link in the show notes.